Where should a digital asset business launch next? Singapore, Hong Kong, and the UAE are all competing to become trusted regulatory hubs. Their rules now shape stablecoins, custody, tokenization, and market access, which means jurisdiction strategy has become a board-level decision. So far, we've built a regulatory map covering US market structure, stablecoin oversight, RWA tokenization, and Europe's MiCA regime. Now we compare three major hubs. Singapore, Hong Kong, and the UAE are not just markets. They represent different choices around licensing, custody, stablecoins, tokenization pilots, and institutional adoption. As we go, keep asking, which regulatory design best supports the product strategy? A regional regulatory hub is more than a place to register an entity. It becomes part of the business model. Licensing shapes which products can be built. Custody and issuer rules affect how stablecoins and tokenized assets are structured. Supervisory engagement gives institutions confidence to participate. Financial infrastructure influences capital access, while compliance expectations affect operating cost and speed. The strongest hubs use regulation strategically, attracting serious institutional activity while managing consumer harm, financial crime, and systemic risk. The main point is that these are not interchangeable crypto hubs. Singapore is best understood as MAS-led institutional innovation, selective, risk-sensitive, and strongest, where governance, custody, and regulated financial market use cases matter. Hong Kong is making a more public hub play, using the SFC regime to bring virtual asset activity into licensed, supervised structures. The UAE offers optionality, with Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and federal frameworks creating multiple licensing routes. The right choice depends less on reputation and more on product, clients, custody, token treatment, and operating footprint. Singapore's model is innovation with guardrails. MAS does not treat every crypto activity the same way. It first asks whether a business provides a digital payment token service, such as exchange, dealing, transfer, or custody. If it does, licensing requirements apply, followed by ongoing supervision. The emphasis is risk control, preventing money laundering and terrorist financing, protecting customers, securing technology, segregating client assets, and maintaining operational resilience. Singapore has welcomed blockchain development, but MAS remains cautious about retail speculation. The message is clear. Build, but build inside a controlled and accountable regulatory perimeter. On stablecoins, Singapore's approach is deliberately narrow. MAS focuses on single currency stablecoins that can credibly hold their peg, especially to the Singapore dollar or major G10 currencies. The mental model is simple. A stablecoin should behave less like a speculative token and more like a dependable payment instrument. That requires high-quality reserves, clear redemption rights, timely liquidity, transparent disclosures, independent assurance, and accountable governance. For executives, the question is not just, can we issue a token? It is, can we prove every day that users can redeem it at par under Singapore's expectations? Tokenization in Singapore shows how digital assets can move from theory into controlled market pilots. Through mass-backed efforts like Project Guardian, banks and asset managers have tested tokenized bonds, funds, foreign exchange, structured products, and servicing workflows. The aim is not retail speculation. It is to see whether digital assets can improve efficiency, connect systems, and preserve risk controls. That suggests tokenization may scale first inside trusted institutional networks, before becoming broadly available to everyday investors. For firms considering Singapore, the operating standard matters as much as the opportunity. The core mental model is, permission comes with control maturity. That means strong AML and CFT controls, including due diligence, sanction screening, and transaction monitoring. It also means credible custody arrangements, with customer assets segregated and private keys protected. Technology risk is central too. Cybersecurity, resilience, incident response, outsourcing, and continuity planning all matter. Governance must be real, not cosmetic. Singapore can enhance credibility, but it should not be mistaken for a light-touch environment. Hong Kong's VASP regime works as a gateway model. A crypto trading platform first determines whether its activities fall within the regulated perimeter. If they do, the platform moves into SFC licensing, where the regulator tests governance, financial resources, custody controls, cybersecurity, AML, and conflicts management. Approval is not the finish line. It begins an ongoing supervised relationship with expectations around client asset protection, market surveillance, retail access, and market integrity. The policy goal is clear: make regulated venues credible enough that activity does not default to offshore, lightly supervised platforms. Stablecoins in Hong Kong are treated through the issuer lens. The focus is not to regulate every token the same way, but to supervise the party responsible for reserves, redemption, governance, and operational risk. The policy path moves from consultation to legislation to licensing and then to a supervised market. For product teams, stablecoins should be treated more like regulated financial infrastructure than a simple crypto asset. Expect questions about reserve quality, user redemption rights, disclosures, local accountability, and how the token is marketed or distributed. The ambition is integration with payments, settlement, and capital markets, but under supervisory control. Hong Kong is also treating tokenization as capital market modernization, not just crypto innovation. The key distinction is regulatory. A token used for trading may be a virtual asset, but a token representing a bond or security can still be a regulated financial product. In that model, distributed ledger technology supports the securities lifecycle: issuance, investor allocation, settlement, and ongoing asset servicing. The value is practical. Tokenization matters when it reduces reconciliation, speeds settlement, improves transparency, or broadens institutional distribution. The message is straightforward. Infrastructure can become digital, but securities law still applies. Hong Kong's opportunity is not simply that it is crypto-friendly. It offers a regulated route into digital asset activity for institutions that need legal certainty. Global capital can access Asian markets through platforms that meet licensing, custody, disclosure, suitability, and financial crime expectations. That distinguishes Hong Kong from offshore venues that compete mainly on flexibility. For executives, the strategic question is which activities belong here: regulated exchange access, tokenized securities, institutional custody, or compliant asset services tied to the broader region. In this model, strong supervision is the feature, not the obstacle. The UAE requires a different mental model. Regulation is not one single doorway. Start with where the activity sits and what it does. In Dubai, VARA is central for many virtual asset services. In Abu Dhabi, ADGM offers a financial services framework that can cover digital asset activity. DEFC brings its own financial regulatory environment, especially relevant to tokenization and institutional finance. Above these centers, federal authorities still matter for financial crime, payments, securities, and banking issues. Executives should map jurisdiction, activity, customer type, and product risk before assuming the right licensing path. This is where comparison becomes strategy. Jurisdiction is not a trophy choice. It has to match the product model. Singapore often suits tightly governed institutional use cases, especially tokenization, payments, and controlled stablecoin or settlement activity. Hong Kong is strongest when the strategy depends on regulated trading, tokenized securities, or access to Asian capital markets. The UAE can be attractive for flexible structuring, custody operations, and tokenization-friendly regional expansion. But licensing is only one filter. Executives should also test banking access, supervisory expectations, client location, tax treatment, and long-term credibility. The best jurisdiction is the one that makes the business durable. Across Singapore, Hong Kong, and the UAE, regulation is no longer just a constraint. It is part of each hub's competitive strategy. Singapore signals institutional control and MAS credibility. Hong Kong offers a regulated gateway. The UAE creates structuring optionality across multiple regimes. The next step is to turn those differences into jurisdiction, product, and market entry choices.